I remember the exact moment my hand started trembling. It was 2:17 in the afternoon, and the house was too quiet. The kind of silence that presses against your ears until you notice every small sound. The ticking clock, the faint hum of the refrigerator. And then, my phone rang. When I saw his name, my stomach dropped. My son doesn't call in the middle of his vacation. Not like that. And when I answered, he didn't say hello. He whispered, "Dad, who's in the house with you?" I hadn't planned on calling anyone that day. The kitchen sink had been acting up for weeks. Nothing dramatic, just a slow, stubborn leak that pooled under the cabinet. No matter how many times I tightened things myself, my son, Ayan, had told me to leave it alone. "I'll fix it when I'm back," he said before leaving for Cancun with his friends. He always liked handling things himself, but I didn't want to bother him. He works hard, too hard. So that morning, after stepping into a damp patch on the kitchen floor, I finally gave in and called a plumber. His name was Khalid. He sounded polite over the phone. Calm, steady voice. Said he could come within the hour. I remember feeling relieved, like I was taking care of something small, something normal. That's how the day started. Normal. When he arrived, he knocked twice. Firm but not aggressive. I opened the door, and the first thing I noticed was how ordinary he looked. Mid-30s, maybe. Clean clothes, not brand new but neat. A toolbox in one hand. He gave a small nod, almost respectful. "Sir," he said. "You called about the sink?" There was nothing about him that raised alarm. Nothing that felt out of place. If anything, he reminded me of someone I used to know years ago. A neighbor, maybe. Someone you'd trust to borrow tools from. I stepped aside and let him in. We talked a little while he worked. Not much, just the kind of small talk that fills space. He asked about the house, how long I'd lived there. I told him about Ayan, how he insisted we renovate the kitchen 2 years ago. Khalid listened. Really listened. He smiled at the right moments. Nodded when I spoke. "You must be proud of your son," he said. "I am," I replied without thinking twice. And I meant it. Ayan and we've always been close. After his mother passed, it was just the two of us. We learned each other's silences, built routines, shared dinners that stretched into late-night conversations. He wasn't just my son, he was my anchor. So when he left for Cancun, the house felt different, empty. That's probably why I kept talking to Khalid longer than necessary. It felt good to have someone there. About 20 minutes into the repair, I noticed something small. He kept glancing toward the hallway. Not constantly, just occasionally. At first, I thought nothing of it. Maybe he was just orienting himself, figuring out the layout of the house. But then I realized he wasn't just looking. He was listening. The kind of listening where your body stills for half a second. I told myself I was imagining things. People do that sometimes in unfamiliar places. It's normal. Still. Something in my chest tightened. "Everything okay?" I asked casually. He turned back quickly, almost too quickly, and smiled. "Yes, sir. Just checking the pipes. Sometimes the sound travels." That made sense. It was a good explanation. A logical one. So I nodded and let it go. He fixed the leak faster than I expected. Said the problem wasn't serious, just a worn-out seal and a loose connection. He showed me the part he replaced, explained it in simple terms. Again, nothing unusual. In fact, he seemed thorough, maybe even a little too thorough. When he finished, I offered him tea. I don't usually do that for workers. But something about the quiet house, the long afternoon, it made me hesitate before letting him leave. He accepted. We sat in the living room. 2 cups of tea between us, steam curling into the still air. That's when I noticed the second thing. He wasn't looking at me anymore. Not really. His eyes kept drifting, toward the staircase this time. Toward the upper floor where Ayan's room was. "You live alone?" he asked. The question was simple, harmless, still. It landed heavier than it should have. "My son lives with me," I said. "He's just traveling right now." Khalid nodded slowly. "Ah," he said. "Must be quiet without him." There was something in his tone. Not sympathy, not curiosity, just acknowledgement, as if he already knew. After he left, I locked the door behind him. I remember standing there for a moment, hand still on the handle, listening to his footsteps fade. The house felt even quieter than before. I shook it off. Told myself I was overthinking. He was just a plumber. A polite, slightly observant plumber. That was all. About an hour later, I decided to call Ayan. Not because of Khalid. At least that's what I told myself. I just wanted to hear his voice, ask about the trip, make sure he was enjoying himself. He picked up on the third ring. "Hey, Dad," he said, cheerful, distant noise of waves and laughter behind him. For a moment, everything felt normal again. We talked about small things. The beach. The hotel. What he'd eaten that day. I almost didn't mention the plumber. But then I did. "By the way," I said, "I had someone come fix the sink today." There was a pause. Not long, but long enough. "What?" he said. "The sink. It was leaking. I called a plumber. It's fixed now." Another pause. Longer this time. "Dad!" His voice changed. Subtle but sharp around the edges. "What's his name?" That caught me off guard. "Khalid," I said. "Why?" Silence. I could hear his breathing now. Not the waves. Not the laughter. Just him. Then quieter, almost a whisper. "Dad, listen to me carefully." Something cold slid through my chest. "What is it?" I asked. "Are you alone right now?" I frowned. "Of course." "He left an hour ago." Another pause. Then I heard it. His voice shaking. Not loud, not panicked, but controlled in a way that made it worse. "Dad, I need you to check something." My grip on the phone tightened. "What do you mean?" "I need you to walk through the house," he said, slowly, "and tell me if anything feels off." A strange pressure built behind my eyes. "Ayan, you're scaring me." "I know," he whispered. "I'm sorry. But please, just do it." I hesitated. The house suddenly didn't feel like mine anymore. Still, I started walking, one step at a time, past the living room. Down the hallway. Everything looked the same. Everything felt the same, until I reached the staircase and stopped. "Ayan," I said slowly, my voice barely steady. "Why are you asking me this?" There was a long silence on the other end. Then, "Because, Dad," his voice cracked. "I never called a plumber." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The staircase blurred in front of me, like the house itself was pulling away, becoming unfamiliar. My hand gripped the railing, steadying myself, but it felt like I was holding on to something that no longer belonged to me. "Ayan," I whispered, my voice dry. "What are you saying?" On the other end, I heard him exhale shakily. The sound of waves had disappeared completely now. No laughter. No background noise. Just distance and fear. "I'm saying," he replied carefully, "I never told anyone to come to the house. I never called a plumber. I never even booked one." A cold realization crept in, slow and suffocating. "But he fixed the sink," I said, almost defensively, as if logic could undo what I was feeling. He had tools. He knew what he was doing. "Dad," Ayan cut in, his voice low but urgent, "listen to me. Did you call him or did he call you?" The question hit harder than anything else. I opened my mouth to answer and stopped. Because suddenly, I wasn't sure. I remembered the leak. I remembered thinking I should call someone. But the actual call itself, the moment I picked up the phone, it felt foggy. I swallowed. "I think I called him." "You think?" Ayan pressed gently. "Or you remember clearly?" Silence stretched between us. And for the first time, I felt something shift inside my memory, like a piece that didn't quite fit. "I don't remember dialing," I admitted slowly. "I just remember him saying he'd be here soon." Ayan didn't respond right away. When he finally spoke, his voice was quieter than before. "Dad, go upstairs." Every instinct in my body resisted. "Why?" I asked, already knowing I didn't want the answer. "Just go," he said, "and stay on the phone with me." The first step creaked under my weight. It had never sounded that loud before. Each step felt heavier than the last, like I was walking into something I couldn't turn back from. My eyes stayed fixed on the top of the stairs, where the hallway split into two, my room on the left, Ayan's on the right. The air felt different up there. Still, too still. "I'm at the top," I whispered. "Okay," Ayan said. "Start with your room." I turned left. The door was slightly open. I was sure I'd left it closed. A faint unease curled in my stomach as I pushed it open slowly. Everything looked normal. The bed was made, the curtains drawn just enough to let in light. My books were where I'd left them. "I don't see anything," I said, a bit too quickly. "Check properly," Ayan replied. So I did. I walked in, scanning every corner. The wardrobe, the desk, the bathroom. Nothing. Just as I was about to step out, something caught my eye. The window. It was unlocked. I always lock it, not because I'm paranoid, but because Ayan insists on it. Just in case, he says. I walked over and touched the latch. It slid open too easily. Ayan, I said slowly. My window's unlocked. There was a pause. Then, did you open it today? No. Are you sure? I'm sure. Silence again. Okay, he said, voice tight. Close it, lock it. Then go to my room. The hallway felt longer this time. Or maybe it was just me. Ayan's door was fully closed. That at least was normal. But when I reached for the handle, my hand hesitated. A strange thought crossed my mind. What if something had changed? What if something small, but undeniable, was waiting on the other side? Dad? Ayan's voice pulled me back. You there? Yeah, I said quietly. I'm opening it. The door creaked as I pushed it inward, and immediately I felt it. That same stillness, but heavier. His room was neat, neater than usual. Ayan isn't messy, but he's not this precise either. The bed was tucked too tightly. The desk was too clean. Like someone had tried to make it look untouched. I don't like this, I murmured. Check his desk, Ayan said. I walked over slowly. Everything seemed in place at first. His laptop, his notebooks, a pen aligned perfectly with the edge. Then I noticed it. A small folded piece of paper. Right in the center. I frowned. That wasn't there before, I said. My fingers hovered over it. For some reason, I didn't want to touch it. Open it, Ayan whispered. Carefully, I picked it up. It was light. Too light. Like it carried more meaning than weight. I unfolded it and froze. What does it say? Ayan asked, his voice barely audible. I stared at the words, my heart pounding so loudly I could barely hear myself think. It says... I swallowed hard. You shouldn't have called. Ayan didn't respond, not immediately. When he did, his voice sounded distant, hollow. Dad, I think you need to leave the house. The words hit me like a shock. Leave? Why? Because whoever that man was, he said slowly, he didn't come to fix the sink. My chest tightened. Then why was he here? Ayan exhaled shakily. I don't know, he admitted. But I have a bad feeling. A really bad feeling. I looked around the room again. At the perfect bed, the untouched desk, the note in my hand. And suddenly, Khalid's small details came rushing back. The way he looked at the hallway, the staircase, Ayan's room, the way he asked if I lived alone, the way he listened. Not casually, but carefully as if he was learning something, planning something. Ayan, I said slowly, what should I do? Grab your keys, he replied immediately. Don't check anything else. Don't go back downstairs. Just leave now. My legs felt heavy, but I forced myself to move. One step, then another. Out of the room, into the hallway, toward the stairs. Halfway down, I stopped, because I heard it. A sound. Soft, almost nothing. But enough. Ayan, I whispered, my voice trembling. I hear something. What kind of something? He asked, panic creeping in. I held my breath. Listened. There it was again. A faint shift, like a floorboard settling, but it wasn't upstairs. It was below me. In the living room. Right where I'd been sitting with him. Right where I'd watched him drink tea. Ayan, I said, barely able to form the words. I don't think he ever left. Silence. Then, Dad, don't move! My heart slammed against my chest. Too late. Because at that exact moment, I heard a second sound. Not a floorboard. Not a shift. A voice. Low. Calm. Familiar. From downstairs. Sir? My blood turned cold. Did you forget something?